Hi, this is Marek from Tryb Solo. Today I'd like to show you a game called Starship Captains. It's a game published by Czech Games Edition, and thanks for sending it for review. And Starship Captains is a game where you will play as a starship captain. not a surprise when you look at the box. But yeah, you will play as a captain of a starship. You will fly around the galaxy. You will complete different missions, fight with pirates, advance on diplomacy tracks. You will have your crew, you will have your cadets that you can train and advance to ensigns. Then you can promote ensigns to commanders. And this is a game for 1 to 4 players. It's not very complicated, even though the box is like a big regular box. It includes a solo mode that is quite fun. First, I want to show you how the game plays. I will talk about the rules, and then we will come back here and I will tell you my opinion on this game. This is the solo setup for Starship Captains. Luckily for you, this solo version of this game is very similar to a multiplayer game. The main element here is the main board, where you will use your ship to fly around different planets, fight with pirates, perform different missions, visit stations, and basically move around. Below the main board is the tech board, where you will be able to get different technology cards and add them to your ship. They will grant you additional actions, sometimes benefit. Some tech cards give you additional victory points at the end of the game. So you will be able to acquire cards from this tech board. Here you have your ship board, and the shipboard is divided into a few different elements. Here is the cargo space, where you will be able to store different tokens, like pirate tokens, when you defeat pirates, or artifacts that will allow you to activate different rooms, you can say for free. For now, 3 of the slots are damaged. You will have to repair them in order to use them. Here is this ready room, where you have your crew. And this crew, they are available and you can use them in a given round. And here is a queue. You have additional crew members that will slide down here at the end of the round, or when you use a specific card. So always when you use a crew member to activate a specific room or to complete a mission, you will put this crew member here in the queue, and when the whole round ends, the game plays over 4 rounds. When the round ends, you will slide the crew down, so new members will appear in the ready area. Here you have 4 basic rooms. Basically, they allow you to perform 4 basic actions. Here you can move. Here you can fight with pirates. Pirates are these small tokens on the main boards, and sometimes on different routes you place pirates. There are 5 routes in the galaxy with pirates at the start of the game, and then during the gameplay you will add more pirate ships to the galaxy board. So here you can fight the pirates, and as a reward you will get the pirate token. This can give you additional points at the end of the game, but you will also get the benefit printed on a pirate ship. In this room, this slot here, you can use your crew member to ensign to get a technology card. You don't have to pay for any of the cards. You just pick the one you want and you will add it to your personal tech board. There are a lot of components here, so I had to squeeze them here. I'm not sure if you can see everything perfectly, but every player gets a tech board that you can use for your ship, and any tech card from the tech board below the main board that you will place on your spaceship tech board, and then this card will give you some bonuses. And the last room here allows you to repair your ship, because some cargo slots at the start of the game are damaged. You can also get more damage tokens when you fight with pirates, or when you fly through a route, you can say patrolled by pirate ship. Also, some technology slots on the tech board are also damaged at the start of the game, so you have to first repair them before you can use them. As you can see, your crew members, they have 3 different colors. You have yellow, blue and red crew members. And the color is very important because a crew member in a specific color can only activate room in the same color. So I can use the red ensign to move, I can use the yellow ensign to fight pirates, but I cannot use the blue one to fight pirates. And this is very important because you have to strategically plan which color of the crew members you have on your ship. There is always an option to change the color of your ensign. You have to pay 1 medal. You will acquire the medals during the game. You can pay 1 medal to change the color of your ensign. You also have the gray crew members, and they are called cadets. They can only use the gray room because the other color crew members can use the gray area. The gray crew member, the cadet, can only use this one. But you can also spend one medal to promote this cadet to a specific color. If you have 3 medals, you can use them to change your ensign to a commander. You will take one of the 5 rings that you have here. You will put it on the crew member, and now this is a commander, and he's more powerful because he can activate 2 rooms in one turn. Because basically when you use your crew member, for example this one, to get a new tech card, after you activate this room you will put this crew member here in the queue, and if this is a commander, the one with the white ring, he could activate this room twice, or this room and another blue room. So this commanders are much more powerful. So now you know how the crew member works and what you can do in the game. The turns are very easy because in your turn you can either use a crew member to activate a room, one of the 4 basic ones, but also when you get a new tech card like this one, this also counts as a yellow room, for example. So you can use your yellow ensign or a commander to activate this tech card instead of the basic room on your ship. So in your turn you can either activate a room or you can complete a mission. What are missions? Missions are these cards that are put on the main board. So you have to fly to a planet where there is an available mission, and each mission has victory points in the bottom right corner that you will get at the end of the game if you complete this mission. And there are also bonuses. And when you want to complete a mission, you have first to fly to a planet where there is a mission. Then you will take this card and put it in this slot here. Let me do this. And now you can use your crew members in a specific color to activate the specific lines. So if you have to add as many crew members as there are lines on the mission card. So here you need 2 crew members, but they don't need to be blue and yellow. They can be any color. But if you add crew members in the color from the mission card, you will get the bonuses. So I can, for example, use the blue ensign to activate this line. I will get 1 pirate token and 1 artifact token, or I can repair 2 slots on my ship. And I can also use the yellow crew member to remove 1 pirate token from my ship if I have one, to move 3 levels up on a diplomacy board. I haven't talked about diplomacy board yet, but you can use this pirate token to move forward on the diplomacy board. And after you complete the mission, you will take it, you will leave it beside your ship, and this mission will give you additional points at the end of the game. So basically, to complete a mission, you just have to fly to a planet where there is a mission and spend your turn to do it. Then you have to spend any crew members that you have to complete this mission. But you don't have to use specific color. If you use any color, you will just get the mission card and points at the end of the game. But if you use the proper color of a specific crew member, then you will be able to get additional bonuses from the mission card. Apart from crew members, there are also androids, and they are like a white color. They don't activate any rooms, but you can use them during missions to fit any slot of any color, so you don't have to use your crew members. They are also one-time use, so if you get an android and you use it for a mission, then you will discard it after the mission is completed. Okay, so now we have also 3 diplomacy boards. We have 3 factions, and you can advance on the diplomacy track here. When there is an option to advance on sometimes the track, the diplomacy board of your choice, or sometimes a specific diplomacy board, you will move your token forward, and sometimes you will get instant bonuses, like here you will get a medal, for example, but also you will score points at the end of the game. So this area is gives you 1 point at the end of the game. If you achieve, for example, this spot here, you will get 2 points at the end of the game, and so on and so on. So you can get additional points from this diplomacy board. And also, if you get to this area, you will trigger this event. For a multiplayer game, there are a few event cards that you randomly choose at the start of the game. For a solo game, there's always 1 objective for each diplomacy board. So if you manage to get to this area, you will activate this event, and it will probably give you some additional bonuses. Apart from pirates, there are also artifacts that you can acquire during the game, and they allow you to activate rooms without using your crew members. So you need 2 artifacts, and if both of them share the same color, yeah, like you have yellow color on this one and a yellow color on this one, you can discard the 2 artifacts to activate a yellow room. So this is a great option to activate additional rooms without using your crew member, that are very valuable. And apart from the crew members that you have here, you will have a chance to get 1 more crew member in the beginning of the 3rd round and 1 more at the beginning on the 4th round, but that's it. There is no option to like buy or get more crew members, so you have to use them very carefully. But you have the artifact and you have the androids that will be able to help you with activating more rooms and more areas during your turn. The game lasts only 4 turns, so there is not much time to complete the missions and do the things you want to do. You have to be hurry. If you play a solo game, you basically have to beat your own score because you don't have any opponent. There is an you can say automated opponent. It's called Shadow Captain. There are solo rules in the rule book. So we have the Captain Shadow, just 2 pages of rules, and Captain Shadow basically uses a ship and will fly around the board, but Captain Shadow will not score anything. He will basically sometimes complete missions. You have a specific deck of cards for the captain, and each turn you will use 1 card from this deck, and sometimes he will fly to your location and will get 1 tech card from the tech board. Or Captain Shadow can, in a solo game, you also have a passenger at your ship. Like now I have a teddy bear, there are a few passengers to choose from, and sometimes they have a special ability that can be activated during Captain Shadow's turn. Sometimes he will try to complete a mission. So basically he helps you to, you can say, refresh the board, because he will discard sometimes the technology cards, or he will discard the mission cards. So it emulates in a way a multiplayer game where other players can take tech cards and add new one to the board, or take missions and add new missions to the board. So Captain Shadow helps you to refresh everything, but you can say he helps you because he can also fight pirates on the board. So he's more like an ally and not your rival. And at the end of the game you have to calculate your final score, and of course you can beat your own score. But there's a cool thing that you have this epilogue page, and depending on how many points you scored, you can read a specific epilogue to your story. So this is really cool. You don't just get a specific number of points, and you can, you know, write them down somewhere and remember for your next game to try to beat them. But you can also read an epilogue, and depending on how many points you got, you will have a different ending to your game. The game may seem a little complex when I explain everything. The rulebook has more over 20 pages, but to be honest, this is not a very complex game. Everything in the rulebook is explained really well, and you have just to remember that in your turn you can either use a crew member to activate a room on your ship, or you can try to complete a mission, and that's basically it. Each round ends when you are out of crew members to activate anything. 4 rounds, then you calculate your score and the game ends. So let's go to the summary. Starship Captains is a surprisingly light game for me, and I'm not saying it in a bad way. When I opened the box and I looked at all the components, I thought, okay, this is quite a heavy and complex game, even though on BGG the weight is like 2.5 or something like this. I looked at the components and I thought, okay, a lot of them. You have the player boards, main board, technology boards, you have a lot of tokens, pirate, crew, miniatures, really cool one. And then I looked at the rulebook, and the rulebook has like 22 pages, but it's very misleading because the rulebook is quite thick, but it explains everything really well, and the game is not a complicated one. I think it's a kind of light, maybe not a family game, but maybe for some people it may be a gateway game, because in your turn, as you have seen when I talked about the rules, you can do basically 2 actions. You can use your crew member to activate a specific room, or you can use the artifacts, or you can use androids to perform some missions, but basically you can activate a room or you can complete a mission, and that's it. The game is not long, it lasts 4 rounds, and when I played solo it took me like maybe 40 minutes to complete the game. On the box it says 25 minutes per player, and I think it may be accurate. I mean, you have to add some time to set up the game and give each player, you know, the board and shuffle the cards and everything, but when you start the game, I think 1 hour for a 2-player game, it's a very accurate time. And I really like this game basically because of the overall, I don't know, vibe and overall feeling, because the game takes a lot from the Star Trek TV series. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Star Trek, but it's not a ripoff, of course, but I think it was very influenced by Star Trek, because just like there, you are a captain of a spaceship, like a peaceful spaceship. The game is not about any combat. You will fight pirates, but basically it's about traveling to distant planets, completing different missions, adding technology to your ship, dealing with your crew. Even the characters look a little like in Star Trek, so if you are a fan of Star Trek, this is like a great non-Star Trek Star Trek game. But I think Czech Games Edition managed to do with this game something similar like they did with Lost Ruins of Arnak. Lost Ruins of Arnak was, I think, is a more complex game in terms of the gameplay itself, but it was a game that appealed to a lot of people who liked adventure games and people who liked Euro games. I have a lot of friends who love Lost Ruins of Arnak, even though normally they play a lot of different games, heavy games, Euro games, Ameritrash games, and different games. They all really like Lost Ruins of Arnak, and I think Starship Captains, it may be a new Arnak for Czech Games Edition, because it's hard not to like this game. It's interesting, it's not too complex, it's not overcomplicated, it plays quite fast. You don't need 3-4 hours to play this game. The components look good, the game board looks good, the artwork is really fun. It's more like a comic style of artwork. It's not very serious, as you can see on the box cover, but it really looks really well. You have dual layered player boards. It's a well made, well designed and really fun game. For me, the main disadvantage, I think, is the length of the game. I would love to see a more like an epic variant of this game. For example, that will last 8 turns or even more, because I have a feeling that when I finally get the technology I want and I finally have the crew members I want, the game ends because it lasts only 4 rounds, and that's basically it. The upside of this decision to make this game so short is that you have to think more and carefully about your decisions, about the missions you want to complete, which crew members to promote, because you don't have too much time to prepare for everything. You have to improvise and you have to make different decisions during the game. If the game will be longer, you'll have more time to assemble your dream crew and to get more technology and everything. So the game is quite tight and forces you to think more and to plan everything, but I would love to play a little longer to do more things in this game. This is not a story-based game. It's more like you can say worker placement, Euro type of game, but it's very thematic and very cool. You just have to remember that it's kind of light. It's not a very complex game, even though the rulebook is long and even though there are a lot of components in the box, and even though the box is quite big, because usually when I have a game that lasts 40 minutes, it's packed in a small box, and this is like a regular big box, and the game is still quite short. But if you are a fan of science fiction, of Star Trek, of space travels and things like this, you will love, I think, Starship Captains. As for the solo mode, there is no automa. You have this automated spaceship piloted by Captain Shadow, but as you have seen when I talked about the rules, Captain Shadow more like helps you to refresh the main board. It helps you to add new missions to the board and to add new technology cards, because Captain Shadow takes some technology cards from the offer and adds new cards to the offer. So it helps you to refresh the market and have some components on the board, like the pirate ships. Normally other players will do it. When you play with more people, they complete some missions, they take technology cards, and in a solo game Captain Shadows does it, but he doesn't score any point and he doesn't play against you. So this is basically beat your own score type of game. But to be honest, the multiplayer game is not very you don't have a lot of player interaction. I mean, every player has its own shipboard and flies around the galaxy, but you cannot shoot other players, you cannot damage other players, and you cannot really do anything nasty to other players. So the solo mode is very similar in the feeling. The cool thing is that you have this epilogue list in the rulebook. So when you finish a solo game or even a multiplayer game, you can compare your score to the specific epilogue in the rulebook, and it will give you some story how your adventure ended. So this is quite fun, and I think it gives you a little bonus, especially in the solo mode, that you will not only have to write down your score and that's it, but you will also get an epilogue that will tell you a little more about your adventures. So Starship Captains is a fun game. I was quite expecting it, because after Essen a lot of people talked a lot of good things about this game, so I was expecting it will be quite fun, and it is. And as I said, if you are a fan of sci-fi, of Star Trek, of space themed games, this one is certainly for you. Subscribe to my channel, hit the like button if you like this video, visit me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Thank you for watching, see you next time, bye bye.